Good morning, friends at Hope. It's good to be with you. Even though I'm not physically with you this morning, it is a reminder that God himself is just not bound by time. He's not bound by distance. Can you imagine if our technology ever caught up to where God is at? That will never happen. But he's capable of all things. He's capable of dwelling with us, even though we can't see him. We can't necessarily feel him, but he is absolutely real. We have come off a few sermons about how the Bible itself, the Word of God given to us in print, can absolutely be trusted. It is a miraculous document. And that's led my heart into looking at the Lord and looking deep into how he connects with us in many, many other areas. Wayne and Tanya Bargan hosted a fireside and invited the worship leaders, which is a small group of us, so it's 7 of us. It's Elliot and Danielle, myself, Wayne and Tanya, and Angela and Roxanne. And as Wayne and Tanya had some great questions to prompt some good discussion, one of the things that came out was, how does God meet us in worship? And then we even responded to, how does he meet us when we're leading in worship? And I remember Wayne had a very inspiring story as he's leading the congregation at Hope and Worship, and God's ministering to him personally, deeply personally, and gave him some insight and wisdom into a personal situation that he had even while he's serving us as a body, leading in worship. And I certainly don't want to pump our tires as worship leaders, but it's a very interesting thing to do. I can speak for myself personally, as I have to play guitar and sing lyrics and remember melodies, and that's a lot to carry. And when we approach that in an honest and good way and actually prepare ourselves properly, and we come as worship leaders just as the congregation comes to meet God and to worship him. So when we've put our time into practicing and being somewhat proficient at our voice and our instrument, often we can experience the Lord doing a great work in us as we worship as well. He touches us deeply in our heart and in our emotion. So after having that fireside, I was very inspired to perhaps share our journey as worship leaders in coming to know God and really experiencing what he has for us in worship. So we're put together a few videos and a few live comments from us as 7 worship leaders in our congregation. My personal testimony is I'm not a crier. I don't find myself weeping in any other time in life unless the Spirit of God moves me. I don't know why that is. Personality, maybe. Maybe it was because how I was raised, where my dad probably gave me the impression that real men don't cry, stuff it down, be a man. And so I don't find myself weeping very often. But I know many, many times in personal worship as well as in leading worship, I can sense the Spirit of God, and I know it's him when I'm just brought to tears and I become undone. Doesn't happen that often when I'm leading worship, but there's been a few times at Hope over the years where I've just had to step aside, take my voice out, and maybe even stop playing my instrument because the Lord is doing something deep, deep in my heart. That is a sign that he is with me. John chapter 10, Jesus says, "My sheep hear my voice, and I know them." There's an intimacy that God has for us, and we often experience that when we come to him in worship. It's very different than that intellectual pursuit that we've been on lately, because I've deeply, deeply wanted to encourage all of us that the Bible can be trusted. That's often an intellectual thing. God created that. He ministers to us in that place. Many people are fearful of meeting God in an emotional way, but he's also created our emotions as well. So this morning we get to enjoy 7 different people, just letting you know that God meets us in that place, and we're going to go on a journey of pursuing him in that place. and talking about the reality of our faith is well-rounded in our senses, in our mind, our will, our emotions, God can speak to us anyhow, any way that he wants to speak to us. And we need to be attentive to that and mindful of that. So we'll experience some testimony and some really good times with the Lord in some of the weeks coming up as we shift from an intellectual, the Bible can be trusted place to God, you meet us in all places. So bless you this morning. I hope to see you soon.